Welcome to Life Planning 101, brought to you by Smart Money Group and Kennedy Financial Services in Eastland, Texas. Tune in every week as we share important information to help you and your family live life on purpose. Insurance, investments, legacy and tax planning, and much more. All covered now on Life Planning 101.
Good morning and welcome into Life Planning 101. My name is Angela Robinson with Smart Money Group and Kennedy Financial Services out of the big town of Eastland, Texas. And, we may be a small town, but we have good stories. And I want to tell you one from a small town. Mrs. Argan, a 5th grade math teacher, was posing a problem to one of her classes. She said, a wealthy man dies and leaves $10 million. 1/5 is to go to his wife, 1/5 is to go to his son, 1/5 is to go to his butler, and the rest to charity. Now, what does each get? Well, after a very long silence in the classroom, little Mikey raised his hand. The teacher called on little Mikey for the answer. And with complete sincerity in his voice, he answered, a lawyer. Yes. We laugh, but we all know that this could be true. And I have a question for you today here on Life Planning 101, and that is, why haven't you updated your estate plan? Why haven't you done it? Now, I want you to be forewarned. I am not going to go light on you today. I'm going to be pretty candid. Because whatever excuse you just gave, it's just that. It's an excuse. So why do I say this? Well, I think first of all, it's important to recognize that we all have dysfunctional families to some degree. I always loved when we were doing workshops through colleges years ago, and my brother and I'd be sitting at the back of the room, and my dad would be at the front. He'd be, talking about estate planning, and he loved to use the line that all of our children are dysfunctional. Well, of course, every head in that room would nonchalantly turn back to look at my brother and myself. But he's right. We're all dysfunctional in different ways, and that's what makes a family, is that not everyone's alike. But some of those dysfunctions are debilitating, and unfortunately, it's debilitating for your estate plan, I should say, more so than just debilitating. Yes, there are those. There are substance abuse, alcohol abuse. Maybe your children just haven't been able to make good decisions in their life, or they keep finding themselves in trouble with the law. Whatever that is, there are those extreme dysfunctions, but there's also divorce. There's also just getting kicked in the head and not being the same person that you once were and making the decisions that you once would have made. And you could be faced with something like that, right? Maybe you have family members that live in a way that you just don't agree with, or maybe you're worried that they could be getting a divorce or that their marriage is on edge, and what would happen to your legacy that you leave behind? Is it going to be protected? I think there's a lot of people out there that say, well, we're blessed. We don't have any of those problems. But they fear something. They fear maybe being ripped apart by money when someone dies. And we've all seen it. We've all seen it. And unfortunately, I strongly discourage people from putting multiple trustees, brothers, sisters, working together on a parent's estate for a lot of reasons, but the most of which is that when that time comes, because it's not an if when you're doing estate planning. Death is a certainty. Surprise. If that hit home, I'm sorry. But that is the reality that we're facing, is that this is not if. This is when. And when this happens, you don't know where your children are going to be or what they're going to be facing at that time. Are they going to be going through a divorce in the midst of this? Or is their marriage on edge and their wife is pushing them to do things that they shouldn't be doing? Is their financial situation not in the place that it's always been, and it's causing them to make decisions that they shouldn't be making? What pressures does that put on the rest of the family? What if they're just extremely busy and they don't have time to deal with anything, and the other kids are wanting their money and they don't have time to make everything happen? What kind of sentiment does that create in the family? And we've all seen it. We've all heard stories that families get ripped apart by money when someone passes away. Maybe that's not the issue. Maybe it's because you realize that fair is not equal, but you fear that your children won't see it that way and understand it that way. Maybe you have a ranch or a business or a sentimental piece of real estate. What is equal or fair when you have more than one child? How do you do it, right? Well, the silver lining is this, okay? You're not alone. Listen to all of that. These issues are increasingly common. They are common. And the sad thing is that we create stalemates in our estate plan when they just simply shouldn't. So that's what we're here to address today. Have you updated your estate plan? And if you haven't, if one of these or more than one of these resonate with you, you need to listen to this show right here on Life Planning 101. So I want to start by telling you a story of a man that waited until the last hour to update his estate plan. This man had 2 children. His daughter was extremely successful. She was an executive living in a big city, and he didn't worry about her a day in his life. He was so proud of her and her accomplishments, and he knew that she wouldn't need anything financially from him. His son was the light of his life, but he just couldn't seem to get his life on track. He spent much of his time in and out of rehab, and when he was sober, things were great. The fear was always not if, but when he would start using again. So his estate planning, probably like many of you, wasn't really about the money. He kept putting it off. Who would take care of his son when he was gone? If it was his daughter, well, that wasn't fair to his daughter, he thought. Not to mention that he could also see that she had come to resent her brother for taking advantage of their dad. Not having a plan ate him up. So he tried not to think about it, and ultimately, he did nothing. Well, that last hour arrived too soon. He learned that he had a brain cancer that would give him only a few months to live. So here he was, faced with something he had to do: update his estate plan. But unfortunately, it may have been better if he had not. And let me tell you why. He decided to leave all of his money to his son in a trust with very little directives for a corporate trustee. He left nothing to his daughter. And this was not because he didn't love her. Just did. He was very proud of her. And he knew that she didn't need anything. She would be okay. But worse than just doing his estate plan and setting everything up this way, he didn't talk to his kids. He didn't tell them anything. He didn't tell his daughter that he wasn't going to leave her anything. And upon his passing, well, you guess what happened. His son couldn't deal with the grief, and he never was sober again. His daughter, heartbroken. Completely heartbroken. She didn't understand. She didn't know if she'd done something wrong. She spent the rest of her days trying to figure out, did he love her? Did he not love her? Wow. Can you imagine if he knew what his actions would have done in his children's life? In hindsight, it's so easy to look at these stories and to see how something could have been done differently. What if in this situation, he had told his daughter, for example, what his plans were and why they were his plans? What if he had just written her a letter? Just something, right? Maybe he was like a lot of parents of substance abusers. He couldn't say no. And I say substance abusers, that's money abusers too. We've seen it where it's not alcohol, it's not drugs, it might be money, and a parent just simply can't say no. Maybe there's some type of guilt that's embedded therein, or just they never done it, or they made promises they feel like that they're backing out on if they don't if they don't, or if they say no, right? Whatever that is. What if he actually had said no at some point in this young man's life? Could this one word have changed everything for his children's relationship with one another? My dad talked about years ago, he should have wrote a book to say, how do you say no? I can't tell you how many times that we actually see that is the one culprit within the family dynamics that breaks everything. I told you I wasn't going to go easy on you today. If you're sitting there with a stalemate estate plan, you have to ask yourself, why is that? And don't give yourself some BS kind of answer. That's not going to work. It's not going to work because until you're ready to address the elephant in the room, and it is an elephant, by the way, in your family, it is an elephant. Everybody knows. So just address it. Just address it. Get it off the table so you can move forward and figure out something that you can do. What if this man had put language in his trust? And instead of using a corporate trustee that the decisions just went to a board of directors and nobody had feelings, he actually had hired a team of professionals, a private trustee that had worked with someone that he knew, his investment advisors, his fiduciaries, to make sure that the son, that what he was really wanting was carried out. What if there was a plan for his son's substance abuse and he found a program in advance to help the survivors with these issues? Or maybe he didn't know about a program, but they were able to help him because, this is not our first rodeo. I promise you. We focus on trying to surround ourselves with professionals and strategic persons, strategic resources that can help in a multitude of situations, from someone inheriting a business and not knowing what the heck they're doing and needing some fractional CFO or CEO, to someone having a substance abuse problem and needing help with that, to someone that has never been said no to, and helping them find some purpose in their life and being able to get on their feet, whatever those things are. If you don't talk about them, nothing is going to get done. And that is exactly what happened in this man's situation. He wasn't willing to face the facts head on. Maybe because he didn't think anyone out there could help him. I mean, after all, you think estate planning and you think of your attorneys. Well, that's where I just need to go. I need to go to my attorney and get all this drawn up. But the reality is they really can't help you out. They really can't. Not in this way. So updating your estate plan may be hard. Scratch that. Okay. No, it's going to be hard. Family dynamics aren't easy. And when you add money to that equation, well, we know what recipe that makes. It could be disaster. It could change everything, and not always for the better. But ultimately, what is harder? Facing it, or your family dealing with the consequences of you not facing it? We are so blessed that we have spent over 35 years helping families build and plan for legacy transition. Because what we've realized, just like when we're helping people live life on purpose, maybe we help them die on purpose. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But the point is that when you leave here, when you leave this place, you're not just leaving your money. It's not just your estate. It is your legacy. And don't let your money ruin it. Don't let that happen. Our number one goal is that your legacy is carried out the way that you planned, and it's carried out with good Christmases and Thanksgivings after you're gone. My name is Angela Robinson with Smart Money Group and Kennedy Financial Services. Be sure to visit us online at www.kennedy-financial.com, and be sure to join us right here next week on Life Planning 101.
Thank you for joining us for Life Planning 101, brought to you by Smart Money Group and Kennedy Financial Services. If you have questions, you can email them to lifeplanning@kennedy-financial.com. Don't forget to learn how our sister company can assist you with all of your tax and consulting needs. You can find out more at briscoeandassociates.com. Be sure to tune in next week for more Life Planning 101. The opinions expressed herein are those of the firm and are subject to change without notice. The opinions referenced are as of the date of publication and are subject to change due to changes in the market or economic conditions and may not necessarily come to pass. Any opinions, projections, or forward-looking statements expressed herein are solely those of the author, may differ from the views or opinions expressed by other areas of the firm, and are only for general informational purposes as of the date indicated. Securities offered through Calton & Associates Incorporated, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Smart Money Group LLC. Kennedy Financial Services and Smart Money Group LLC are separate entities and are not owned or controlled by Calton & Associates Incorporated.